Dinosaurs are famous for being giant, scary monsters that lived hundreds of millions of years ago. And what's one of the first sounds you imagine when you think of these prehistoric beasts? Of course, it's their roar aloud. Drawn-out sound that lets you know a hungry carnivore is ready to chomp down on some unfortunate prey. But did dinosaurs really roar? We've been hearing this iconic dino call for decades, but where did it come from? Will we ever hear anything like it again? Let's take a journey back in time and find out if dinos did indeed roar. So you want to know if dinosaurs roared? Let's start with the basics. What does roaring even mean? When we talk about an animal roaring, we mean making a loud vocalization that comes from deep within the chest cavity, involving the larynx and the vocal folds. As air rushes through the open end of the windpipe, it causes those folds to vibrate, creating sound waves that travel through the body and resonate in the chest cavity. This resonance gives the noise its characteristic low rumble, which can be heard by other animals for miles around. So there you have it. It's not just a sound, it's a whole production. But how do we know how dinosaurs sounded? While we may never know exactly what dinosaurs sounded like, since they obviously didn't leave behind any audio recordings, scientists can make pretty good guesses by studying their anatomy and comparing them to living relatives. You see, the way an animal's voice box is structured has a lot to do with the sounds it makes. And by looking at the structure of a dinosaur's skeleton, scientists can get clues about whether or not it was capable of roaring. One key feature to look for is the size and shape of the dinosaur's skull and jaw. A large, robust skull with strong jaws and teeth is a good indication that an animal was capable of producing a loud, powerful roar. They also want to take a peek inside the dinosaur's chest cavity. This part of the skeleton gives clues about the size and shape of the animal's voice box, which is essential for making sound. By piecing together all of this anatomical information, scientists can start to build a picture of what a dinosaur might have sounded like. Okay, so we know what roaring is and how to tell if a dinosaur could do it. So let's look at some famous dinos and figure out if they had voices like today's big cats, or maybe something more like a bird tweet. Let's start with the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of the dinosaurs. This ferocious predator was one of the largest and most powerful carnivores that ever lived, and its size alone would have contributed to the volume of its roar. T-Rex had a massive skull and jaw that could easily produce a loud, bone-rattling sound. Its chest cavity was also large enough to accommodate a big voice box, suggesting that it was capable of some serious vocalizations. Plus, the T-Rex was closely related to birds, which are known for their diverse range of vocalizations, including some that are eerily similar to roars. So it's reasonable to conclude that the T-Rex had a loud, powerful roar. But what about the gentle giants, like the Diplodocus? These long-necked herbivores were huge, but their skulls and jaws were relatively small and delicate, which suggests that they weren't capable of producing a loud roar. Instead, they may have had a more bird-like call or perhaps a deep bellow. In fact, many sauropods, the group that includes Diplodocus, have been found to have relatively small voice boxes, suggesting that they weren't built for roaring. Okay, now, let's talk about one of the most famous dinosaurs of all, the Triceratops. This plant eater had a huge head, with 3 horns and a frill around its neck. While its skull was massive, it wasn't quite right for roaring. You see, the Triceratops's skull was very thick and bony, which would have made it difficult for sound to resonate and produce a loud roar. Instead, its head ornamentation may have been used for display or for fighting other dinosaurs, leaving the roaring to its more vocal cousins. Now, you may have heard that some scientists believe dinosaurs made sounds similar to birds, but did you know that some scientists think the opposite is true? That means some birds may have evolved from dinosaurs that were already making bird-like sounds. A study published in 2020 used computer modeling and a deep understanding of avian evolution to show that birds likely inherited their vocal abilities from a group of theropod dinosaurs called Coelurosaurs. This group includes famous carnivores like Velociraptor and some of our closest relatives. But how did these ancient birds acquire the ability to tweet and chirp? According to the study, they inherited it from the dinosaurs that preceded them. This suggests that some dinosaurs had a much wider range of vocalizations than previously thought. In fact, the researchers think that coelurosans may have been capable of a variety of sounds, including whistles, rattles, and yes, even roars. This is a fascinating example of how scientists use new technologies to learn more about dinosaurs. By combining the study of fossils with cutting-edge computer modeling, They're able to reconstruct ancient ecosystems in unprecedented detail, shedding light on everything from dinosaur behavior to the evolution of birdsong. So what does all this science teach us about dinosaurs? For one thing, it shows us that these prehistoric creatures were more diverse than we ever imagined. Some dinosaurs were big and scary, while others were small and feathered. Some were metators, while others were plantators, and some were probably pretty good at both. But perhaps most surprising of all is the realization that dinosaurs weren't all that different from us. They had complex relationships with each other and with their environment. They used tools, built nests, and cared for their young. And yes, some of them probably even roared. As we continue to learn more about dinosaurs, we'll no doubt uncover even more similarities between them and modern animals. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll even find evidence of dinosaurs that could talk. But until then, we can marvel at the incredible diversity of life that has existed on Earth over the past 600 million years, and remember that even the most fearsome dinosaurs may have started out as small, chirping hatchlings just like baby birds today. Speaking of baby birds, did you know that most birds lay eggs? That's right. These ovoid objects are laid by female birds and then incubated until they hatch. But why do birds lay eggs? It turns out that laying eggs is actually a super old way of reproducing that goes way back in history. In fact, almost all land-dwelling vertebrates, including reptiles, birds, and mammals, are thought to have evolved from ancestors that reproduced via eggs. Eggs provided a way for animals to reproduce on land without needing to rely on water for fertilization. This allowed them to expand their habitats and eventually take over the planet. Now, we don't know exactly when animals first started laying eggs, but it was probably pretty early on in the game. The oldest known amniote eggs, which are eggs that don't need water to survive, are around 365 million years old. These eggs were laid by early reptiles and are much older than any dinosaur eggs that we've found so far. If you're curious about the world of dinosaurs, don't miss our series Dinosaur Train. Join Buddy and his friends on exciting adventures through time as they discover the amazing world of dinosaurs. With catchy songs and fun facts, Dinosaur Train is the perfect way to learn about these fascinating creatures. So, did dinosaurs really roar? The answer is a resounding maybe. Well, we'll never know for sure. The evidence suggests that some dinosaurs were capable of producing loud, booming calls that would have echoed through their prehistoric habitats. From the mighty T-Rex to the more humble Stegosaurus, these sounds would have been an important part of their daily lives. And who knows, maybe one day we'll even hear something like them again. Thanks for coming along on this journey back in time to uncover the secrets of dinosaurs. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below to stay up to date on all our latest content. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring. Who knows, you might just discover something that changes the world.